Welcome to PaxAriaGaming. This is Reg, and we are continuing with part 3 of Wuchang Fallen Feathers. When last we met, we were just at the start of Doomwillow Beach.
Wuchang, you made it. How's the arm? No signs of worsening. Good. Here, take this medicine from the boatman. It supposedly suppresses the feathering. I tried it myself. It's safe. I traded it for a small knife I carried. Fair exchange. Nothing worth keeping anyway. Easily replaced at sea. Locals call this Doomwillow Beach. They say that the corpses of those who fall to feathering are left here. Piles of corpses rotting on these shores. The trees themselves have mutated because of it. I had planned to cross here to reach the Tang Emperor's palace. If only I hadn't lost my pack. It contained quite a few useful things. Wow! Such a great find! Telescope, compass, everything seems intact. This will make things easier. And here, these are notes I made at sea. They're about you and by you. Perhaps they'll help stir your memory. The road ahead is perilous. Take these clothes. They're spoils from the Wako pirates. But I've reworked them for better... I'll scout ahead. And leave pinwheel markers if I uncover any clues.
Okay, so we know that Wuchang was a pirate. So we have a new pirate outfit, or pirate armor. Worth trying out at least, until we get to a boss. Some birds in the background. On the other side of that fire is where we were when we couldn't cross to this side. Okay. Game is giving us a few more hints that I will probably ignore. The eerie music and the desolate environment makes it all the more creepy. Okay, so I did use the hint. So, like several other Souls games, there are mimics. I think very few, but the shrines can be mimics. And the way to tell the difference, which is why I walked up to it the way I did, is that if it's holding the incense, that staff-looking thing in his hand, is incense, then it's real. If it's not holding the incense, then it's a mimic. And you should attack it. And once you defeat it, it will go back to being a regular shrine. I don't know how many of them there are in the game. I'm not sure. There are plenty. This is the first one we found. And we're on part 3, which is probably about 7 or 8 hours into the game. Maybe 6 or 7 hours into the game. So because I'm going with a magic build, I'm sort of putting everything into magic, gaining magic, and it goes for my weapon as well. So now that we are topped off, yes, we are still in Warship's Rise. The next region corresponds to the next chapter of the game. So the reason we're back here is to make sure that we talk to any NPCs to further their quests. So we're back at the Revenant Temple, and we want to have any kind of conversation we need to have with any of the NPCs. You'll know which NPCs are where at each of the shrines. When you are ready to fast travel, you'll see their location.
There truly is a
Generally.
secret passage to Doomwillow Beach beneath the Shoe Sanctum. Official law went to Doomwillow to eradicate the monsters. To trap them, they set the mountain ablaze. The townsfolk say that Doomwillow Beach was once a place for disposing of corpses, steeped in malevolence. The fire should have cleansed it to some extent. Yet the fire defied nature, burning for months on end, blocking all passage. No living soul has reached Doomwillow Beach since. Now that you've discovered the secret passage, I should also make my way there. The scriptures in the palace may hold the key to saving Worship's Rise. These are perilous times. Tread carefully in these parts.
The other thing the NPCs do is give you a little bit more backstory. That's where Nyan was. That's his sick brother. Okay, so we've done everything we can do here.
What treasures do you have for me today? Let me make an assessment. This bronze statue, could it be a sacred artifact of ancient Shu? Since you found this in the underground vault, I must tell you something. The Shu Sanctum has more than one priest, you know. Word has it that there are two, Lu Bingzhang and Lu Bingcheng. Twin brothers, believe it or not. The elder brother, Lu Bingcheng, oversees the vault, likely where they brew their secret elixirs. Oh, rumors say he kept a monster hidden below. A group of Taoists even tried to exorcise the thing. Only one Taoist returned. A woman. The others, well, if you're curious about what happened, seek her out.
Just checking to see if there's anything I want to buy from this guy. Every time you
If
defeat...
you've got more than you need, don't forget to do.
Whenever you defeat one of the bosses, you should come back to him because he sells sort of boss-type things.
You have avenged me by slaying Lu Hongliu. I, Huang Dian'er, offer my thanks on behalf of all my fallen brothers. Please, accept this token of my gratitude. Thank you. Now I must return to Cloudspire and set everything in order once more. Until next we meet.
Yeah, we'll be heading to Cloudspire a little bit later. That is the next chapter. So the reason we talk to the NPCs is to make sure that we are furthering their quests or quest lines. I'm not sure how some of it affects the end of the game. My guess is that there are NPCs that you help, and eventually you end up having to make a decision that might impact the end of the game. There are 4 separate endings. I don't know all of them. In these playthroughs, I tend to try to get the good ending or the true ending. I guess the true ending is not always a good ending. But I try to get the true ending. I guess the ending that the developers, if you do the things that they are hinting you should do during the game, is the ending that you'll get. You know, whenever there are multiple endings, it makes for pretty decent replayability, unless the decision point for the ending comes at the very end of the game. In which case you just play up to the end of the game or create a save file and go from there. Okay, so enough rambling about nothing. We will be exploring Doomwillow Beach. A couple of places within this area that we will explore. These little annoying corpse zombie things, they really can't hurt you. Sometimes there's just tons of them. These are just grave markers with little messages. But in this area we're going to explore Lou Mansion, the corpse pit, and we're going to take on a boss. And we probably won't take on a second boss, because I think making our way through this will take probably close to an hour and a half before we even get to the boss. So actually, that's probably not true. Probably midway through, but to get to the next boss might be a little bit longer. So we're only going to do one boss in this episode. And try to keep the parts to anywhere from an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours and 15 minutes. But my fear is if I go beyond the point where I'm going to end, it might end up being closer to 3 hours, which is a bit much. Okay, so we're making our way up and around. There are little enemies, different enemy types than the ones we've faced so far. This gentleman we met back in the first temple we were at.
Then I bestow this upon you. The feathered monstrosities grow empowered, enraged upon consuming it. They crave it endlessly. I shall send you to the next life, should the power...
How rude. Okay, can't you see I'm talking to this guy as he's threatening to send me to the next life? Jeez.
I shall send you to the next life, should the power overwhelm you. I shall send you to the...
Yeah, he sort of looks like he would be a difficult fight if I have to fight him. I don't know whether I will or not. So this is his second location. I met him in the original temple that we were in. He was sitting outside on the veranda or balcony, and my guess is that he's likely going to show up in the next area as well, unless his quest ends here, which I don't think, since we're at the beginning of this area. He didn't tell us to do anything. He just issued a little threat. You know, after dealing with that Mercury area, every area gives me a little bit of paranoia. Like, okay, what's around the corner? And there are plenty of things hidden that are waiting to attack you. The humanoid enemies want to attack you because they see the feathers on your arm and they consider you a monster. The monster creatures want to attack you just because I guess they're monsters. The bosses want to attack you because they want to impede your progress. So there seems to be a reason for everybody to sort of jump on Wuchang. But she seems to be able to handle herself, so. I've seen a person playing with a strength build using the axe, and I will admit, if you're struggling in the game and you're struggling with a particular boss, if you sort of reset to the axe, you probably will be able to defeat the boss. It's just amazing to watch how much damage it does. I'm going to stick with my short sword for this run. Sometimes I'll use the long sword. Mostly you'll see me using a short sword. There are not tons of them in the game. I have 2. The one I have equipped is the one that helps me generate helps me generate magic. So that little flash that you see, I might have explained this in a previous video. Every time you see that flash, which is roughly every 30 seconds, she's gaining Skyborn might. We have another. Is it a real shrine or a fake shrine? It's a real shrine. We gain Skyborn might when you see that flash. I mean, it's not forever. It'll flash every 30 seconds. And once you max out, I believe I'm currently at 4 or 5. Then I won't store any more Skyborn might, unless I get into a fight and dodge and stuff like that. It's pretty good because some of the spells that you use will use more than one. Most of the spells you use will use more than one. 2 or 3 Skyborn might blocks, or whatever you want to call those little star thingies, to use. And as you're fighting, if you're dodging successfully, or I guess parrying, although I haven't been doing that, dodging, you gain more. So you could, if you play it just right, just spam certain spells. And that, I think in a boss fight, I think I did that in a boss fight, I'm not sure. You have a little bit of invulnerability when you're using a particular spell. That's not true for all of them. There's some spells you can get knocked right out of it. There are others where you actually have a little window. We have some... I don't know, is this... I guess this is blood. Okay. What's it? Corruption. What is this? Whatever it is, it's not good. So these treants should be vulnerable to fire since they're trees. And you can go up and fight them just like you'd fight anything else. Oh, no, no, no. The Madness Lady's back with a freaking gun. Yeah, I never really pay attention to my madness because I'm going to die a lot, so I'm always going to have a lot of madness. And this is one way to mitigate it. Obviously, if you die, you mitigate it as well because she takes everything you had. And I didn't pay attention to how much currency I had. So if it shows that your madness is still there, which mine is not, so I mean she's not coming back. She took my stuff and she's absconded with all my belongings. when your Madner's gauge fills up, it seems to me like it stays full for a long time before she makes an appearance. And so I'll probably, I said this before, and I am using my sword more for fighting than I have before. I think early on I was just using magic for everything. Eventually the sword will be imbued with magic, so I'll still be able to use magic. But it also gives me back Skyborn Might when I use it. And it gives me a little bit of practice for these other bosses, unless I want to equip the longsword to fight her. I think I did that once in an earlier episode when my inner demon popped up and I equipped the longsword, and it actually worked out well because I was able to block. With this sword, you really can't do that. With dual blades, at least one set of the dual blades, I don't know that all of them do it, you can block, you can clash. With the axe, or at least one of the axes you can block, you have to pay attention because not every weapon will do the same thing. So just because one axe allows you to block doesn't mean all of the axes allow you to block. Same thing with the dual blades. And the same thing with the longsword. So you have to look at the attribute of the particular weapon that you have. Unfortunately for the short sword, neither of the two that I found, I don't know whether there are others, maybe, but neither one of them block. Why did I know that was going to happen? I knew she was going to pop out of there. It's okay, I'm less intimidated by the pot ladies than I was before. I guess the other thing too is when you're in an enclosed space with the pot ladies, it's a much more difficult sort of fight than when you're in a space like this. Much easier to dodge or back up when you're in an open space like this size, versus when you're in, one of the little huts, and all of a sudden you're caught and she's got you locked into a corner and she's wailing away on you. Okay, so this was a little difficult to figure out where to go, because you had that little cave, you had the elevator, and you have another little pathway, but I'm not sure yet which one is progression or exploration. So what we just did was exploration. That wasn't progression. And there are 4 paths: to the right, 2 to the left. One of those paths we actually came down to get here. Okay. I decided to go back and work my way, what's this, back through. Yeah, these little guys aren't, let's see. There's sort of 2 versions of these. There are the ones where you can sort of one-shot, and then the other ones that, imbue their weapons with corruption, and then they start fighting you. They're a little bit stronger than that particular version of it. Okay, makes sense to sort of clear out this little corpsey area that we didn't really clear out. We did some of it and then we sort of moved away from it. This is where we were when I beat to death by my inner demon. Killed these treants before, we'll do it again. Oh no, she's back, even though my inner demon thing is not filled up. Okay, so I guess this is one of those ones where it's sort of looped into the game. There are a couple of places where the inner demon's going to attack no matter what. But this time, I'm not gonna die to her. Yeah, she's still better than me, just so you know. But that's okay, I want to do as much damage as I can. Stay away if I go in, make sure I get a couple of hits. There we go. Alright. You little... Give me my stuff back. Okay, well that was good. You know, you can induce her to fight your enemies. So if I'd gone over and sort of activated those trees and then ran back over there, not only would she fight me, she would also fight those trees. You don't have any control over who she's going to lock onto or focus, and the worst thing that can happen is you end up fighting her and the trees. You definitely don't want that to happen. Okay, we got some red feather stuff. The game is very generous with finding that type of loot. Okay, so we have loot, we have enemies, we have these pools of whatever this stuff is, and there's more than one of these little pools, right? There are different paths that you can sort of walk through. How is this? It's kind of fast. Okay. Yeah, he's got me stuck in a freaking corner. Okay. What is this thing? Like a boar? Yeah, this is the... Oh my god. This is an example of if I had a longsword or the spear, I probably would be in a better position than using a short sword against something like that. But I need to learn how to use the weapon that I have, the weapon that I'm committed to. Another one of these things. Magic does a pretty decent amount of damage. It's going to make me run through all of my health stuff. And I haven't gone very far or very deep into this particular area, and I'm not sure what's ahead. Okay, let's just make sure that there's nothing waiting to snatch me when I walk into this little bloody lake. And there probably are things in there. So there's 3 paths. Unless this one loops around, there's an upper path, there's a lower path. Let's go with the upper path first. I don't know whether it's a dead end. We'll find out. The way the game has been going before is that at least when you get to a fork in the road and you have a left versus a right, one's a dead end and one's the way forward. When you have these kinds of things where they're like 3 paths or various alternate paths, I'm not quite sure how yet to figure out where I should go. And since I'm exploring anyway, I'll probably go in all of these different directions. The good thing is okay, so this is a dead end. And the dead ends usually have loot. So whether it's worth it or not is a different story. But there's always loot. So we took that one. We take this one, and we can do the lower one last. Yeah, we never did get that thing in the middle. This is these birds everywhere. A reminder, the bird feathers are good to collect and good to actually use. I'm not really good at using particular consumables. I've used the feathers a few times, and certainly in boss fights. In the regular areas, I haven't used it. I don't know how long the effects of the feathers actually last. Okay, we have one of these little corpse thingies spitting blight at me. We saw a lot of these, at least a few of these, in the Mercury area of the game. Yeah, it's so weird because the game makes you feel like you're always under the gun. Okay, we know there's I forget what you call those guys, the one banging that drum thing. This sort of feels a little bit like a trap. I wonder if he's banging that thing because he saw me. Or do they just sit there and beat the drum all day? I'm not sure about that. Because clearly he's up on a ridge above me, so he could have seen me walking the path below. All kinds of bullshit here. We got the guy banging the drum. What is that? We got a corpse thingy. We got the guy banging the drum. We have a tree. We had a little mob guy that was the easiest of all of these to kill. What we're gonna do, Mr. Tree Guy, is we're gonna... That's right, we're gonna run the fire face thing right into the side of a hill. That wasn't very helpful. I could use the Dutanga thing. I don't use it. I think I'll only use it on the mimic things. Because I'm not really, doing a lot of melee stuff. It doesn't make sense for me to use that. Or at least I have it equipped as a spell. The ones that I have equipped are the ones that I use the most. The one in the #1 spot is my favorite because the cost for Skyborn is very low. It regenerates pretty quickly. It does decent damage. It's not the strongest spell in the game, but it does decent damage. Okay, there we go. Alright, you're next, buddy. Okay, so we got the tree down. We still got the drum banging guy. And we got this thing. This little light. light tosser thing. Doesn't look like he's... Maybe he is coming down here. I was gonna say, it doesn't look like he's coming down here, but maybe he is. Yep. Alright. What you got? I should not be eating the blight like that. I mean, it's slow enough that I should be able to dodge every single one of these. It's silly for me to get caught by that. Alright, let me regroup. Use yet another heal. Yeah, I'm guessing that guy sees me because he had stopped banging and then he started banging again. Okay, so I don't think I can kite him all the way down here. Okay. Alright. Let's go take out the drum banging guy. I'm coming for you, buddy. What is this? Alright. Check in. I don't think there's anything back there. Whoa. Okay. We have a freaking zombie horse. I'm glad they didn't just run over there to attack the drum banging guy. See, that's what I mean. There's always something hidden, tucked away, waiting for you to walk by. Of course, too far away. A little better. See if I can get him over here and just snipe his ass. Yeah, sniping the side of the mountain is probably not a good idea. Sniping him, which is what I want to do, that is the goal. When he goes up like that, comes forward, that's the goal. Okay, drum banger, your time's up. I'm just wondering whether there's anything else hidden over here. I don't think so. I don't know who else he's calling for help, but I think that I think anybody who could have helped you I already took care of. Let's snag this. And let's snag that. We have a ladder. Yet another pathway. This one I didn't account for. Feels very trappy-like. Maybe not. Nope. Yep, knew it. Knew it. Yeah. I was like, this is just too convenient. No ladder up here to nowhere. Although this space that we're in, this area, I don't even call it a canyon, is pretty desolate. You know, it's not overwhelming. It's not overwhelming you with enemies. The little zombie corpse thingies don't hurt a lot, but when they gang up on you, it's a pain in the neck because they sort of lock you into trying to deal with them. The trees are probably a bigger item, bigger issue. Nothing a little fire won't solve. And these guys, I can just sort of hack away with my magic. Okay, there are tons of them. Oh my god. Alright. Wow. Okay. The other thing is, I do have a pendant that heals me when I kill enemies. Which is very helpful. Not so much in a boss fight. So in a boss fight, I'm much more likely to take it off and replace it with something that maybe gives me more stamina or takes less damage, those kinds of things. But in the other areas, it's very helpful. Because you do, even when you're fighting, sometimes you take some chip damage. And the health on kill, especially in those areas where you have a lot of enemies, like those little guys. If there are 8 of them, I'm not sure how much health I get back from them. But if there are a lot of them, then you get some health back. I think it's worth it. Okay, we have a shortcut. I think that's the only reason for the fallen trees and stuff like that. It loops you back to an area you've been to before. Otherwise, hey, haven't seen you in a while. Can I talk to you? Am I disturbing you? Oh, there we go.
That energy seems even stronger now. The might of the primordial deity. No mere mortal should wield such force. You ought to be trembling, worm, to be given this divine gift. So, let's see, shall we? Will this immense power consume you, or will you conquer it? We'll find out soon enough, won't we?
Okay, lady, you've thrown me off. Where do I go? Okay, so this looks like something that we can only get from dropping down. So no worries. We'll take care of that. Of course, these are very annoying little creatures. Wrong. I don't have my health on heal thing on. Unless I'm confusing it with an upcoming episode, which may be the next episode. Sorry about it if I am. Okay, I don't think these guys are ever spawning. So once you kill them, once you kill all of them, it's usually safe to go forward. At least in this part of the game. I think there are some areas of the game where the enemies just seem to spawn forever. Okay, so I think this is one of these forks in the road kind of a deals. Okay. Yes, there's a chest over there that these guys are protecting. If he goes to the left, which we are going to do, as long as we don't get blighted to death. And to the right side is actually the boss. But let's take it one step at a time. The other thing you can always do is, equip a blight resist potion or seeds. Whatever the item is that deals with blight, go in and fight them and just use that if you get blighted. Much like you do with corruption. So I don't think it's all that different. I think the issue is when you get struck by both. In that other area we were in, you could get hit by one of these guys for blight, as well as end up stumbling into the purple stuff for corruption. At least this looks like we're only dealing with one. Unless I stop allowing myself to get hit with those things. Yeah. You know what I was looking at? I'm like, why am I looking at the guy throw the blight thing right into my face? All to wait for the 30 seconds to pass for my magic thing to fill up again. That's just silly. So we have some more upgrade material. So you do want to explore enough to find these chests to get the upgrade material. I think that's important. especially as you get deeper into the game and face bosses that are just outrageously strong and fast and all this other stuff. So the upgrades are helpful. The question is, am I ready for this, or is there more exploring I need to do in this area? Okay, so we're not going to face the boss quite yet, but we know where he is. We've already got that chest, so when we come back down here, all we have to do is come down and go to our right when we come off that ladder to get to the boss. Okay, we have another shortcut. Guessing there's yeah, okay, as I said, I'm guessing there's an enemy up here protecting something. This is a little out of the way spot. Okay, I was trying to make sure he didn't kill me before I had a chance to heal. Okay, so it's good that we came up here. We have not explored this area. We have these little treant things, which are pretty easy to kill. Yeah, it's interesting because I don't think the fire bombs do as much damage as that face magic thingy that I send their way. And regular magic hurts them, but it takes a lot more of that. So the way to go is the little fire face things. Yeah, this is a drop down point to get that item that we saw on the rocks that we couldn't get. So we've cleared this area, but we passed by and we saw that thing down there. Well, I thought we cleared this area, but there's some little guys down there, the little annoying zombie guys. So we're going to clear them out, grab this item, and continue on our way. Okay, he's just down there wailing away at nothing. I'm waiting here because I can't go back up from here. So I don't have a choice but to jump down. And I think he's the only one left down there. Okay. We got these guys, and we have a new tentacle thing. Yeah, the one thing about the weapon I don't like is the moveset. And it's probably because I'm not using all of the controls that I have access to. I'm just pressing one thing. Okay, this particular spell is pretty strong, but it's also has a high cost. But it melts those tentacle things. Now, whether it does that to the boss, I don't know. What I found is that things you think will sort of melt the boss's health, you don't get enough time to use. Although in this particular instance, if he's far enough away, I guess I could do something like that. The previous boss I fought, wouldn't have worked. You know, that boss was just on me, didn't ever give me any chance. At the corpse pit, didn't give me any chance at all to do anything, but run away. And finally, after learning his movesets by dying a few times, you dodge to the side, get a couple of hits in, use the pillars in the room. You know, so there's certain things you were able to do once you figured it out. Okay, and so now we are face to face with the boss. As always, I will keep a death end and then show you the final one. Okay. See, I used that spell, but I was too far away for it to do any damage. So he seems, let's see if it does. Okay. Actually, it does pretty decent damage. If I can avoid getting hit by all of this foolishness. Yeah, actually, it's not too bad. The problem is, it's such a high cost that by the time I regenerate more of it, you know, so Yikes. Okay, I need to make sure that I'm not in... Well, why did it? Okay, this is... I need to make sure I'm not in the path of that little fire breath thing that he's doing there. And he's got these... He's got the tentacles coming out of the ground. He's got the little zombie guys coming after you. Most of them you should be able to ignore, to be honest with you, and focus only on the boss. He seems like a pretty stationary boss. He has a significant area effect. Two of them, I guess. One is this one where he tries to suck you in. I'm assuming it's instant death if he's able to suck you completely into his mouth. And then he has the fire thing. So those are the two area effect types of things. So if I were brave enough, I would actually get pretty close so that when he slams his head down, I'd be able to get some hits in. Those are easy to dodge. Close enough right there, I could have gotten... Actually, if I was close enough and I was using a longsword, I'm not sure, or a spear, either one of those would work if I was close enough. Like right there. See, that's what I get. I told myself, don't stand in the middle of his fire breath thing. I mean, there are safe spaces on both sides of that. Just don't stand in the middle of it. I have him down to, what, maybe a third of his health left? Was pretty doofus. Getting stuck in a corner. He's almost dead. If I can get a couple more hits on him, that's it. This should do it. Bye-bye, Treant. Reborn. And I guess this opens up a new path for us. I only had to take out 2 additional deaths, so not too bad. Because the first one I was pretty close. The second one I got sloppy. I remember what happened to the third one, and then the next one was good. I think in part because he was a stationary boss, and once I figured out not to stand right in the middle of his AoE, the other, like the tentacles out of the ground, the little zombie guys, weren't really going to hurt you. So I wasn't too worried about trying to kill them while fighting him. And I think that was the key to the fight, is just focus on the boss. And if you have a long sword or something that is easy to reach, then you can bide your time, and when he slams his head on the ground or he ends up on the ground, you can get a lot of damage in. I don't know whether fire pots and stuff like that would have worked against him. I've been disappointed with fire pots so far. For humanoid enemies, I guess it works a little bit better. If you throw it in the middle of those pots that have gunpowder in it, it works really well. But other than that, certainly against bosses, it just hasn't really worked out that well. Okay. So it looks like we are entering a new area or sub-area of Doomwillow Beach. Let me go through this. Let's check out this lower path first. So we have health pill and nothing else. Okay, we're at the Palace Pass. And it's funny because after all that we've done, it just seems ultra quiet after fighting a loud boss with loud music. And all of a sudden it's just silence. This game certainly has done a pretty decent job with the different environments. And the transition from one to the next. Like we started the game off in a sort of forested, grassy area. Okay, buddy. It's a terrible welcome to the neighborhood. Then we spent a chunk of time in an underground cave. Well, I guess all caves are underground, but in a cavern that was full of poison or full of corruption. Made our way out of that. And the desolation of Doomwillow Beach, to this little Palace Pass transitional area. Okay, there's nothing to really explore except to go forward here, but the question is, what awaits me? Okay, you await me. All right. I'm guessing, scramble. As I scramble to get away from this guy, I'm guessing that this enemy type will be fairly prevalent in this part of the game. That's funny. Just probably backing up, fell off the steps, floating in the air. We can grab whatever he had up here, and then we can progress forward. Okay, so everybody has a gun except Wuchang, really? And this guy is just lighting me up, jeez. Everybody has a gun. Oh no, he has fire. Okay, alright, great. Alright, this is going to make this a little bit more interesting. Let's snag the good stuff and work our way up this cliffside. Probably too far away to do any real damage to that guy with that stuff. But I got his puppy. Just checking under, there we go. Just checking for loot, but wanted to make sure this wasn't water I can step into and then drown, since Wuchang can't swim. We have an NPC that we can chat with right here.
There lurks a
familiar
demonic
face.
treant at Doomwillow Beach. It seems even plants and trees are not spared from the feathering. The road to a cure is long and fraught with trials. The Tang Emperor's palace. It was once a sanctuary of immortality and enlightenment. Now it lies in ruin. But according to the townsfolk, this is where the first cases of the feathering emerged. Most curious. The rebels left long ago, yet the soldiers still guard this place. Surely there's more than meets the eye. Perhaps it is connected to the feathering. They protected my practice. A direct confrontation would be ill-advised. Would you be kind enough to investigate on my behalf? The people and I would be most grateful.
Okay. Doing yet another favor for an NPC. So we know they're enemies because they put these little noisemakers around to alert them. So we're going to work our way carefully. Doggy should have been paying attention. If he was supposed to be a guard dog, he was doing a terrible job. As is this fella over here. Ooh, okay. This guy was on task, not bad. Send you to join your brothers anyway. Let's grab any loot that we see, and then we'll go over to the other side. There's a guy over there as well who didn't react at all as I was murdering his friends. Yeah, I stop at every tent because I never know which ones you can talk to and which ones you can't. Right? Early game, there were a couple of tents you can sort of go to and there are people in there that will talk to you. That hasn't happened too often. Okay, took care of you. You should have been paying attention as well. Now, this area is... It's a single complex, but it's fairly expansive. So this is sort of an outer area. There's an inner area. There's a pool or a lake. I guess not a lake. Some kind of body of water in the middle. At some point, I'll probably stop checking the tents. But since this area, again, doesn't, you know, it's manageable in terms of what it's throwing at you. So I'm not too worried about it at this point. So this was the sort of outer ring of this area that we cleared. I just want to make sure that I didn't leave any loot. Okay. You let me walk in there, kill someone, steal something, and you were just standing there? Okay. So with these guys down, I think we have everything from this little area. No, and at the start of episodes, I'll start showing my loadout, at least at the start. It may change throughout the video. I hear a bird. But what I'll do is I'll show you what I have equipped and my level as well. I think I'm probably leveled where I'm supposed to be for at this point in the game. You know, all of these skill checks I've sort of managed. Any of the bosses I've struggled with, you know, if you're patient and you're willing to learn, you will eventually be able to defeat them. Now, what I haven't done is I haven't respec'd at all. You know, early on I committed to a magic build, that's what it's going to be. And while it may be easier with some of the enemies that you're facing to sort of respec to more of a strength build, I've decided to not do that. If I play the game again, then yes, I would play strength and probably would not do magic. Feathering would be interesting to try. You know, if I max out, I think the soft cap on magic is 50. So if I soft cap that, then I think I will start pouring some things into magic. Into feathering. But yeah, I think that soft cap applies to strength as well. So if you're playing a strength build and you get to 50, it's a bit of a diminishing return when you start going beyond that. So it makes sense then to either try to balance things out by just spreading out your points as you upgrade, or focus on what would be your second favorite sort of archetype that you'd want to play. Since I'm doing magic, probably for me it would be feathering. If I were doing strength, I'm not sure what it would be in addition to strength. But I did say battle mage, so maybe feathering wouldn't be my second archetype. Maybe it should be strength if I'm going the battle mage route. So anyway, we'll see. So we have another building ahead. And I guess this is technically, I guess it's a moat, you know, even though there are bridges over it. Kill the bird, and whoever that was threatening me. Yeah, I always fire one time too many when I'm using magic on these guys. Okay, so we have an area where, is it luck? Can we go forward? Why is there that other area over there? guarding a little chest. Okay, and I can't go forward here. All right, that's where the other side is. I was like, okay, which way is the way forward? So this is just another little area that we can come into, grab this chest, kill those enemies, then grab the chest. And then we'll go back to the area where we saw the hole in the wall. We'll go through that and loop. Looks like it'll loop us around that little barrier area that we saw. So kill Fluffy, or Rex, or Prince, whatever your favorite pet name is. So we have a building there and a building to the right of there. Let's take the one in front of us first. Yes, paranoia is still real. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not attacked when I walk in. The other thing is, earlier in the game threw sick people at you, people that were like almost dead, that were like sitting down or sleeping or napping or something like that. And they were non-hostile, because they wouldn't ever attack you. In this part of the game, however, you can have a guy that looks just like one of them sitting in a corner, and you go to pick something up and he comes at you and he's full health, and you know, for some reason you're not able to necessarily lock on immediately. And I think that's what fools me, because typically what I'll do is I'll try to lock on to something when I walk into a space like that. If there's no lock on, I assume there's no enemy. This guy's up there tossing fire bombs. He almost killed me. Did you just call me a wretch? Really? Alright. Alright, pot lady, you got me. This moves kind of fast. At least faster than the last one I faced. Faced me halfway across the arena. Wow. Alright, so we're going to check this out. And I think in order to get to the other side, yeah, I see the ladder. We have to go up top. So we'll do that. I don't think there's anybody up here. Grab this item. Loop around this little thingy. An enemy straight ahead. That I can't reach with that. But I can reach with that. So hopefully that will kite him over here. And then we can do a little sniping. Okay, so there is a, that's the body of water I was referring to. Let's check this out. Okay, I was going to say there's nothing over here, but there is. The game does make it reward you for exploring, I will say that. I mean, you know, it's sort of rare that you have something like that where steps lead off to an area where there's is nothing. Now, you may go to a spot where you see a building and you go behind the building and there's nothing there, or on the side of the building and there's nothing there. But there's no obvious thing leading you to the building, like that pathway, that set of stairs and stuff like that. So we open this door, it actually leads back to one of the temples that we were at. So if you needed to go back and sort of reset, you could do that. We don't need to do that yet. We haven't found the shrine for this area yet, so, and we need to knock that ladder down. And we have a set of stairs over here. So there are a couple of things we need to do, so let's get started. Don't call me a fiend. The heck. Alright, you shouldn't have been in this temple. Alright, we're just looking around. I don't think there's anything up here. It's just... Although I guess I can't get back to the other side of that. We're just in explorer mode here. Yeah, I don't know whether yeah, I'm not sure whether that leads to a different area, but we weren't done with this area because we still haven't dropped that ladder down.
I nearly died trying to get my reward from her. Keep your thoughts to yourself. Don't let those official idiots.
Okay, so it wasn't leading to a different area, actually. My bad. I needed to come to this spot. This was after rummaging around for another 10 minutes that I cut out. It's like, okay, how do I get over there to that ladder? Well, we're gonna find it. First things first. And I walked into the noisemaker, so these guys now know that I'm here. Yep, they do. Walked right into the noisemaker. Walked into it again. At least it's not the exploding kind. Again, near Lighton Temple, those things exploded. I was like, okay, so you paid a steep price for walking into the noisemakers. Okay, who are you? Okay. Better yet, what were you protecting up there? Okay, he's about to kill me. Alright. Okay, so what was up there that was so important that you needed to keep me away from it? A little chest, okay. No little chest? Just this little pathway. And a secret door. Now, the way these doors work, you have two possible answers. So it's a multiple choice. One answer will transport you somewhere else, and the other answer will get you loot. So early in the game, these don't influence the end of the game, but I believe there are 4 of these doors, and when you get to the 4th door, there is an influence to the game. So if I'd answered the question, if I had chosen the other answer, it would have transported me to a different location. Generally speaking, that location is only accessible through answering the question in a way that gets you transported versus answering it to get you the loot. Now, I say that, but you are going to eventually end up in a place. Maybe you just enter from a different spot. Okay, we found a ladder, a drop-down ladder. Not quite sure how that works, but I think you will eventually find the space that it would have transported you to. At least for the first 2 of these. I don't know about number 3 and 4. Like I said, 4 is a little different because it influences one of the outcomes at the end of the game. So if you goof up, then you're probably going to lock yourself out of a particular ending if you're looking for a particular ending. Okay, birdie, give me your feather. If we go in there, you will be attacked. There is a mini boss in there. And the actual boss, actually, the actual boss is not in that water. But you do have to drain that water. But the actual boss is not in there. But before we do all of that and wrap this video up, the first thing we want to do, or the next thing we want to do, call me a wretch. These people, really? Anyway, the next thing we want to do is to unlock the next shrine. They're always fairly close to where a boss is located. We're not going to fight that boss in this episode. We'll start the next episode off with getting to that boss. But for now, we're going to take care of this guy who called me a wretch. Shouldn't have done that. And then we're going to find the shrine. There's an item that you need to drain the lake, or to drain that water. And so you won't be able to fight that boss until you find that item. So that's one of the things we have to do. We don't have time to do it now. And again, as you can see, so far we've only found one shrine mimic out of all the shrines that we found. So they're spaced out enough. I don't know how many. Maybe there's only one. Maybe there's more than one. But we've only found one, and we're, getting perilously close to the end of chapter 2. So, I mean, I like it. I like the fact that I don't have to always pay attention to that. But if you're wondering how to tell the difference, the one that's not holding incense, right, that's the only difference. They look exactly alike, except he's not holding the sort of the stick of incense. If he's not holding it, he's a mimic, and you should just start attacking. Because eventually you're going to need that shrine anyway. So that's the thing that you really need to sort of keep an eye out. Sorry for the noise. Okay, so we're done with this, and we are going to wrap things here for this episode. And when we come back, we're going to complete this palace area, and we're going to take on the boss. And we're going to begin our sojourn into the next chapter. All right. So thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it. For the handful of you guys that actually watch these videos, I really do appreciate it. Please comment, subscribe if you like it, and I will see you in episode 4. All right. Take good care, and we'll see you soon.